Okay, this is surprising. Not the results, but that probably will be, but the fact that I have a chance to record. Anyway, as you can see on my screen, we're reacting to, on my screen, on your screen, we're reacting to Haku's popularity poll. You've probably seen other people do this, but given that I'm in an interesting position, I might be able to give you some sort of unique reaction, given that I've not actually read all of Season 3 yet. But, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with the poor souls at 0 votes that no one had the heart to vote for, and honestly, I don't blame you, because I didn't vote for any of them either, as is apparent by them having no votes. And there's a lot of them, so let's just have a quick skim through and see if there's any interesting ones. I mean, you know, stuff like Venti and Toll, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Let me see if Grande's here, actually. Oh yeah, there's Grande, there they are, they're all in a nice little line. Not really surprising. Let's have a look. Any actually surprising ones? I feel like there's got to be someone in here that I'm, like, not expecting to be, you know, have no votes. The Red Thrissa doesn't have any votes, which is... I mean, I guess it makes sense. They are just a weapon for all intents and purposes, but, like... interesting, given that they were kind of a focal piece of an entire arc. Well, not a focal piece, but they were an important part of an entire arc. Wait, hold on. Traveler didn't get a single vote. Traveler didn't get a vote. Oh my, I just right-clicked. Let's forget about that. You will be seeing this because I'm having to do this by display capture, so you'll see even my bar at the bottom, I think. But, oh my god, Traveler didn't get a vote. Neither did Michael. Or Apple. They're around loads. How the fuck did they not get votes? What? Okay, you know what? That's actually weird. How did these three not get any votes? Interesting. I guess people probably just don't like Traveler. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. He's a bit annoying, but like, really? No one gave Traveler a vote. I guess people that like Traveler also like other characters a lot more. And it's probably the same for most of these. If you like these characters, you know, you'll like other characters probably a lot more. So let's move on to characters that actually got votes. The ones with 3 votes. We have Levin, Arie David, God of Guardians, Batis, Data-kun Ikari, Charlie, Ored Cobra, Toro. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can actually see these in detail. There we are. You can actually see what we're looking at. Unnamed Division Commander, Darkskin. What? An unnamed character got more votes than characters that we've been with since Season 2. Are you serious? Daijang, boss / captain with long hair, don't know who that is, I'll probably meet them eventually. The Ancient Giant. This thing that we see in like an explanation got more votes than named characters we've been with since Season 2. Oh my god. Baekryun, Hendo Lock Blood Matter, dunno, Yon Hana, and Arie Han. Makes sense, he's important to White, but we've not really seen him do anything. Interesting. The 2 votes. I should have started at the bottom really, but, you know. I didn't think about that until I just saw that it goes up. Which will make sense later, but I should have thought about that. Right, the character with 2 votes. Nia. Interesting. Given how important he is to Wagner's development, especially early on, and how it kind of is a big marker in early Season 2 for saving Balm, I'd have expected Nia to be a bit higher up, but interesting. Lurker, I guess, and if Nia is going to be low, Lurker's going to be low, Vesper as well. These, actually, maybe, actually, no, yeah, I kind of forgot who Vesper was for a second, but yeah, no. Vesper, yeah. T-Bow and Rebo. Who? I probably haven't met them if I don't know who they are. The Punk is the other. Wait, is the other announcer guy from the workshop battle here? I don't think he is. Oh no, he is. Imagine getting... Hey look, the red helmeted guy beat his brother with the blue helmet. Get fucked, kid. Rak's sworn enemy got 2 votes. Huang, Pedro, the Death Eyes, Mia, Madarako, nice. Kanhong, dunno. Tonki, dunno. Yeah, there's a bunch of characters here that I don't know, which is obviously going to be expected. Louis, I mean, he got votes. Yep. Medley, a character that basically couldn't speak. Nice. Green April, that we see for like fuck all amount of time. Got 2, makes sense, they're not around for long. Grand Dejar with 1, Grand Desas Sun with 1 vote. There's quite a lot for 1, so we're just going to skim through these. Yarn Woon. I mean, maybe I'd have expected a little bit more, but again, there's more popular characters, so I'm not really surprised that there's only a few with like 1 or 2 votes, because people that would potentially vote for these will probably have characters they'd rather vote for, and this is a popularity contest, so they're going to want to back their horse with everything they've got. I know for a fact that I did. Fusiol is here. Have I been introduced to Fusiol yet? I feel like I recognize the design, so I think I have. I don't know if you've seen it in my videos yet, but I feel like I've been introduced to them. Levy's a character I've heard of, at least heard the name for. Royale Elliot, again, a name I feel like I've heard. Verity, the name I've heard. Emily, only 1 vote for Emily, makes sense, they're a system, they're less so a character, more so a system. Reflejo, interesting, because given how like popular I'd say the, I need to forget the name of the workshop battle, what the fuck? You know, it's interesting that he's not higher up, but then again, he's just a minor villain during that arc. Yuto, obviously because Yuto isn't even Yuto for most of the arc, makes sense, and there's a nice little look at the full graphic for you. Moving on to 4 votes. We have Anarch's Mother, we have Hyun Chung, Rodney, Neurotic Guardian, and the Hybrider. Anarch's Mother makes sense, she's only shown in a flashback very early on in Season 1. Hyun Chung, I don't even fucking remember who you are, if you've even been introduced to me. You look like a Season 2 character by the art, but hey. Rodney, he's another one of the workshop battle people, isn't he? I think. The Neurotic Guardian, and Hybrider, probably a Season 3 thing. 5 votes. Augustus. Amongus. No, terrible joke. Ariana, Heljo, Fire Elephant. Really? Fucking Evan Kell's, like, big spirit thing got more votes than named characters. Fuck's sake. Pinnacle. Beredish. I know Haku's probably disappointed in that. Kun Devo Perez. Yeah, not really got anything to say on these other than my actually, Heljo, again, very major part of the Floor of Death. Surprising he doesn't have at least a few more votes. Baragav. Yeah, makes sense with 6. And Kendrick DL, who probably haven't been introduced to him yet. Again, Baragav I feel like makes sense. He is a very minor side character in both the Workshop Station, the Workshop Battle, and the Cage. So yeah, makes sense. And him showing up at the Cage doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but hey. Tulalan, Liu, Mata, Death Lady, and Baylord Paul with 7. Yeah, Paul, it makes sense that he's going to get completely, like, overshadowed by his siblings. Simply because he's, I think, he's the least relevant of the bunch. Even though he's the second one we're introduced to, he's done the least so far in terms of story and been the least relevant. And also, I don't think he's written that greatly. I don't think Doom is written that greatly either, but I don't think Paul has the best. He's not very consistent, is my problem with Paul. And so I feel like it makes sense that he is. 7, Death Lady, yeah, she's there, I guess. And yeah, I guess that's it. 8 votes. Good Christ, Deng Deng got 8 votes. Cool, I guess. Stuart Arthur and Kun Hind Luke. Sure, I only know Deng Deng here, so move on. Alphine, nice. Ghost of the 13 Months. Data Kisea, Maria, and Lopabia Kidding. Only one of these characters I don't know. Interesting to see Kisea and Maria at the same amount of votes. Well, Data Kisea. It's funny to see that. It's almost... I was about to say ironic, but that's not quite the right word. Alphine I like to see here. I like to see that she's got an almost double-digit votes, because I like the hidden floor? No, I don't like the hidden floor. The name hunt station, and she's pretty important to that. Votes. Repalista. We haven't seen her in ages. That's crazy. We haven't seen Repalista since really early Season 2. Wow. Interesting. I want to see more Repelista. Maybe I should have included that in one of the videos that's coming out next week. Because yes, this is actually a video you're seeing the day it goes up. Isn't that nice? But maybe interesting. Gialulu. Oh, I know who she is. Namo and Grace Marcia Lizlik, the founder of Fug. Namo, I don't know. Lopibia Hasach. Fuck knows. Again, I know who Liboric is. I know the name Liboric. Pobedao Liboric Kun. That gives me interesting thoughts on the Pobedao family. But I know who Liboric is in name, but I don't know anything about him. Idode, Sweetfish, Calhalum, and Eurasia Blossom at 12. The Firefish being here is interesting. I feel like a lot of people don't like the Firefish. I like the Firefish. I think it could be interesting, especially if what it says to Kun during the cage actually goes anywhere with a fire that spreads and becomes out of control and burns everything down. I'd really like to see that get played on. Calhalum, couldn't care less, to be honest. I find him kind of boring, at least so far. And Idode, she's not really a character I've ever been attached to. So yeah. Wagnon's mom, that's shown in like 2 flashbacks. There's 13 votes. Yule, kind of makes sense. He is around for an amount. Kun Edwan, not Data Edwan, this is original Edwan, we haven't actually seen yet, hence why there's the question mark. And Ari Han, not Arie Han, not Arie Han, Ari Han, or Han. Accents make things weird. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Surprising to see Edwan, like a base Edwan here. Probably people that like Data Edwan voting for regular Edwan as well. 14 votes. Hong Chunhua, Hai Yurin, Little Yoon, Soo, the captain with the mole, Sola, and Lopabia Holan. A lot of characters that I don't know. I'm pretty sure the only one here I know is Soo, but I might know Hong. I'm not sure. But Soo, I mean, she's cute, I guess, and that'll get like a vote or 2 here and there. Enough to put it to 14. As for the rest, nothing. I feel like I've seen this panel, though, that is being used for the image of Captain of the Mole. Not in the story, but of, like, on Twitter and in thumbnails and the like. Alexi, Amigo Chaz, Devi, and Cobalt. I don't know who Cobalt is, but I know these two. Devi. Interesting that he's got more votes than Woon, given that they're, you know, a part of the same arc, but I guess Woon doesn't really have much of a story around him, whereas Devi has a backstory and stuff to go off of to warrant people voting for him. 60 votes. Ghost. Interesting. So this is where Ghost is. Only 16 votes. I'd have expected Ghost to be a bit higher, given that he shows up, especially in the, you know, the date of fucking hell. I keep fumbling my arcs. The cage. But interesting. He's not that high up. Very, very interesting. I wonder if he'd have been higher or lower if he hadn't shown up in the cage. That would have been an interesting thing to see. Buelsar Elliot, Dorian Frog, Kane, and Flux. I know Buelsar Elliot, I think. It looks like Season 2 art, so I feel like I should know who they are, but I don't remember them off the top of my head. And the rest I don't know. And in 17th, we have Gosang. Really? Gosang's this low? That's disappointing. That's really disappointing. Gosang is this low. Damn. That's actually... Fuck, man, that's sad. Gosang should be higher up. V with 18 votes. Data Viol with 18 votes as well. Funny that these two have the same amount of votes. Not really got anything to say on that, but funny. Right, and now we get to the top 100. So, let's zoom right in to have a look at 97 through 91, with a few ties here and there, as you can see. So we have a tie for 97th place, a 4-way tie even, with Angel, Arca Williams, Rowan, and Ari Bright Sharon. That's really interesting. I'm really happy to see Rowan here with 19 votes. Actually, maybe... Actually, thinking about it, I feel like getting, you know, to almost to 20 votes is actually pretty impressive. So maybe Gosang being where she wasn't too much of a disappointment. Because, I do know that some of the higher placing characters have quite a lot more votes. And also, with 6,000 votes, is, you know, 20 is actually pretty good. Ari Bright Sharon. Given that, for at least for me, she hasn't shown up outside of the last station, that's really interesting that she's this high up with 19 votes. Rowan, I really like. That makes me happy because the Hell Terrain, at least her saga in it, you know, with White and Daniel is really nice. Really good subplot. I really like it. Arca Williams. Really interesting to see Arca here. I don't know how I feel, because Arca's not really a character I ever, like, was attached to, so... Very interesting. And Angel, that I like. I really like that Angel's this high up, that she's in the top 100. That is great. Because Angel, I think, is a really good character. She facilitates a lot of really good growth in Iwa, and she sets up a nice little bit of, you know, drama. And I really like it. Well, she doesn't set up the drama, but she's, like, there to play off of something that was set up earlier. I really like it. I'm happy that she is this high up. And 96th, there is no tie, and that is Chang. Poor guy. Poor guy. But hey, at least he got some recognition with 21 votes. And skipping straight to 91st place, we have yet another we have a 5-way tie. Oh my, I've just seen what's in 91. Fuck me. I don't know who they are, but I'm going to have to say their name, aren't I? So, we have with 22 votes, Pobedao Mateha, Data Yu Han Sung, Blue Thrissa, Ron Mei, and Kukaku Raku Kakuka. Sure, I think that's about right. The only things I can comment on here are the middle three. Ron Mei, much higher than Baragav, even though they're almost always together. Blue Thrissa makes sense. He does have a lot of dialogue with Balm during, you know, stuff like the rice pot and stuff. Makes sense that he's here. And Data Han Sung, probably, you know, because Han Sung is also a popular character, so his Data variant will be. And also Data Han Sung is an interesting outlet, I guess. Not really outlet, but interesting spin on Han Sung as a character, given we get to see him when he's younger. So there will be people that probably prefer Data Han Sung to modern Han Sung. Right, this is how this is going to have to be done. Just accept it and move on. Right, moving on to the top 80, which is full of yet more ties, but that's not unexpected. So we have a 4-way tie for 87th place, with the 23 votes. Eurasia and Jihad, Prince, Quant, and the Black March, Spirit. So, I can only comment on 3 here, although I do know of Eurasia Ann. I know of her, but I don't know the do I? Actually, no, I think I do. Yes, I do. It was the Floor of Death. Wasn't it Garam that introduced her? Fuck, I'm mixing up information that I know through reading the story and stuff from watching videos like 2 years ago. Oh my. Anyway, Eurasia Ann's probably here because her lore is interesting. That's almost certainly why she's highly voted. Prince, I mean, he grows a lot. He has really good development, so it makes sense that he'd be popular. You know, enough to get into the top 80. His growth is really good. So, it's nice to see him up here. Quant, he's been around for a long time. He's got a good personality. People like him. He's relevant really early into Season 1. That's probably why he's up here. And the Black March. A couple of reasons why the Black March will be here. She's pretty. She has a close connection with Balm, and a good relationship with Balm. She has a relationship with Yuri. She bounces off pretty popular and important characters very well. And also with how she's reintroduced during the end of... Well, not during the end of Season 2, but she's also introducing the Floor of Death. But, reconnected with Balm in the last station, and now he's using her somewhat. You know, here it is. I've just seen something that confuses me. We have yet another 4-way tie for 83, with 25 votes, with Wagnan's weapon that he got during the Data Floor. I think it was the Data Floor. Bero, Beta, and Kun Hartzling. Why does Wagnan's weapon have 25 votes? Excuse me? What? Sure, whatever, sure. Bero, I mean, cool. I know people like Bero. Again, for me, never a character I really liked too much. I'm kind of normie in that I like the main characters a lot more than the side characters. I know. Sue me. I'm sorry. But Bero, not a character I ever really was fond of. They were there for me, but that's about it. Interesting to see them in the top 80. Beta, that's cool. Even though he is kind of sidelined very heavily by just being in Kun's lighthouse. Well, Aguaranius' lighthouse, given we got another Kun to talk about. With Hartzling, what does he even do? I know he shows up during that one bit with Quant and Leroro, but like, what does he actually do? Fuck knows. And with 82nd place on their own, with 26 votes, is a character I do not know in Lopobia Haracha. The Lopobias have pretty similar sounding names, at least so far, from the ones that I've bothered to read. Right, moving on to our top 70. So, well, I say top 70, we have a two-way tie for 80th place with Baylord Wang Wang. Who? I haven't been introduced to them yet, that's why I don't know who they are, but another Baylord. Probably not a sibling, I'm going to assume. And Boro with 29 votes. Interesting. Boro got outvoted by Sachi. Wow. That's something else. Speaking of Sachi, he is involved in a three-way tie with 30 votes for 77th place. With Pobdao Bellarire, fuck it, and Kang Hoyang. So interesting. Hoyang is here in the top 70, high in the top, well, relatively high in the top 70, with a tie for 77th place with 30 votes. Interesting he's here. That means he is voted by Kasa now. Quite sad, given that Hoyang was one of the main characters, but it also makes sense. Kasno has had more screen time. At least I assume he's outvoted by Kasno, and I haven't just missed Kasno through some sort of, like, weird, like, mental block. And Sachi. Sachi's here. Good for him. And a character I don't know. So, then we have a two-way tie for 75th place with Lopobia Purity. Never mind, the Lopias don't have very similar sounding names, but some of them have names similar to Yasaracha, 31, and Jordan, also giving us a tie, with 31 votes. I like seeing Jordan here. Out of all the characters introduced in the cage, he's definitely a character I like. Really nice to see him in the top 70, breaking the halfway point, even if it is through a tie, in the 70s. And then we don't have a tie until 71st place. 32 votes is Data Uric Mazzino. I mean, I don't know how I feel about Data Uric. It's interesting as a plot point, but then again, I'm not really a big fan of the data flaw and stuff. There's actually something related to the data flaw that I do need to get onto. Whether or not it'll become anything is a different story, but there's something I definitely need to get onto with the data flaw. But yeah, Uric Mazzino, data version, I don't know. I'm a bit iffy on him. I guess it's acceptable that he has this many votes because of regular Uric. And then we have a tie for 71st place with 33 votes with Evan, Edrock, Quattro Blitz, and the long-tailed tit from the data flaw. How? How? What is wrong with you people? How did the long-tailed tit beat characters like Traveler and Michael? Like, what? Michael's way more interesting than the long-tailed tit. This thing was around for, like, I mean, it was around for a while because they couldn't be asked, they, were expecting it to be a trap and didn't kill, this thing, this is part of the reason why I feel like early data flaw dragged a little bit. And yes, it gives us, a nice bit of banter between Kun and the gang, but I don't know, I don't like this thing. Quattro, really cool. Obviously we like Quattro, massively out, doing Chang, not a surprise, given certain events. And then we have Evan coming at 33. He's been around for a while. He hangs around with Yuri. He will get some straggle votes by Yuri fans. Probably, maybe, I don't know. And there's also going to be people that just like Evan. I like Evan. I didn't vote for him because I had an agenda, but I do like Evan. Right. Moving on to the top 60. Oh my, I don't have to scroll anymore. This is what we like to see. So, with 70th place, not tying with 34 votes, is Adori Jihad. Do I know who Adori is? I feel like I do. But I don't know if it's through reading. I assume it's through reading. Anyway, not really got any comments on that. Probably because of her lore, that she's high up. In fact, it's all but guaranteed that that's the reason she's here. And a two-way tie for 68th place with 36 votes with Hedon and Data Asensio. Interesting to see Asensio here. Data Asensio. I mean, I'm not going to complain. He was there, I guess. He was pretty cool. There's definitely worse characters to see this high up. Like the fucking long-tailed tit. Hedon's really cool. He doesn't really do a lot, but he's, a mysterious figure that we're introduced very early on. And I like his place within the story. So I understand why he's gotten a decent amount of votes to get to 68th place. And then we have a four-way tie even, for 64th place with 37 votes. We have Arya, a character I know by name, and do know a little bit of what happens with her, and kind of why it's surprising that she's this high up. But I guess that's less her fault and more the writing's fault. Lopabia Lefave, a character I don't know. Hana Yu and Mule Love, two characters I do know. I like seeing Mule Love up here. I do like seeing Mule Love up here, because his fight with Viol in the untrustworthy room is really good. I really like that fight. I love everything that goes on around it. Really good. I like seeing Mule here. Well deserved 37 votes. And then we have a four-way tie with 38 votes of Data Jihad, Arie Han, okay, Yura Ha, and Adine Dan. Yes, my boy Dan got to top 60, right at the top of the top 60. Good shit. That is what we like to see. Dan is a great character. Really happy to see him here. Yura is a character I like, but I think this character I like more than her, and has shown clearly a lot of other people would also agree, because there's characters with much more votes. Arie Han and Data Jihad, I don't know how to feel about Arie Han, but Data Jihad, yeah, that's good. I guess, to an extent, because he's one of the highlights of the data floor, so seeing him up here is good. And Yura, to comment on Yura, she's pretty, so that gets her votes. Moving on. Right. So, the top 50. In 59th place with 39 votes, we have Moontari. Interesting. Surprising that he's this high up, given that I barely even recognize him. Moving on to 57th place with a two-way tie between Lopabia Ren and Lopabia Shiliol. Interesting stuff. Really interesting stuff. Shiliol being outvoted by Liliol, even though I say Shiliol's the more interesting of the two. But then again, Liliol did also have a fight in the webtoon with Balm. I know that happens during the nest, so she probably does get a little bit of a bump because of that. Ren, that's really interesting to see. I really like this, given he's a really interesting character. So it's good to see him up here. And then another two-way tie with 52nd place, 55th place with 43 votes. Interesting enough, 2-vote jump. These were like, 1-vote jumps. Now we've actually got an increment of 2 in the increase. Wait, actually, do the votes increase by any more than that so far? No, they don't. They're all really close, yeah. So now we're actually getting jumps in the votes. Oh yeah, between 55 and 54. We have Albelda, or White's clone, and Daniel. Nice. That's good. 2 Hell Train characters, one I'd argue better than the other. Albelda, she's got a great design. Like, I think that is worth 43 votes in my opinion. But she's also got a nice character in how she interacts with White, especially during the Hell Train, and with Balm during the Hell Train. And Daniel, very core to the Hell Train in its early stages. Really good character, is involved in one of, I'd argue, the best subplots of the series. Really good to see him up here. Good stuff. And then in 54th place, we have Doom. I don't know how I feel about Doom being this high up, breaking past the midpoint of the 50s. He's almost in the top half of the characters. I don't know. Not exactly, well he is, but like, in terms of like, top 100. He almost broke the top 100, but he's definitely in the top 50% of characters. I don't know what percentage he's in, but fuck, I'm not doing the math. I don't know how I feel about Doom being here, but that might just be my bias against the cage. And in 53rd place with 48 votes is a character I don't know, in Nen Nea. They look cool, so sure, they can be here. Not that I have any say in that. And in a tie in 51st place between Sophia Tan and Lare, our sleepy boy. It's good to see him here. One of the original main characters, one of the original main cast up here. That's good to see. Right, moving on to the top 40. We have in 50th place, so technically not the top 40, but shut up, is Nare. Sunwoo Nare. I don't remember who she is, but she looks like a Season 2 character. We'll get back to that. 49th place with 55 votes is Pentaminum. Interesting. I do know who Pentaminum is, and I know what's going on around him, and it's really cool, And I assume that's why people vote for him, because he's so interesting and mysterious, and it has this cool factor to him. Do I think that he should be this highly placed? Debatable. In 48th place with 57 votes, we have the Leviathan, introduced in the nest, I know that. In 47th place, we have Novik. Interesting. Good to see him here. He's obviously been outdone by Ran, but that makes sense. He does a lot less than Ran. He's kind of forgotten, I'd say. Novik does kind of get forgotten about, I feel. Maybe one of the more underrated characters. Probably should have mentioned him in a little video that I've just spoiled, that is coming out next week. And in 46th place with 59 votes is Asensio, not Data. Obviously outperforming his Data self. Interesting. Interesting. I don't really have any comments on that. A lot of these I don't have comments on, but hey, he's here. And in 45th place with 60 votes is Ho, whose basically sole purpose is to stab Rachel and have an interesting conflict with some of the characters and show a little bit of the mindset of regulars in the early floors. He's interesting, and I like what he kind of represents and the small action he does that is an inciting action to basically the whole story. I like it, but I don't know how I feel about Ho being up here at 45th place. Interesting though, very interesting. In 44th place with 62 votes is Data Marshani. Let's fucking go. Marshani love is great. In 43rd place with, obviously given that she's here, I know regular Marshani is much higher up, and that is very pleasing. Even though I didn't vote for her myself. I'll tell you who I voted for when we get to them. In 43rd place with 64 votes we have Misang. Obviously, not really surprising that Misang's this high up. She has really, really good growth. We're with her for a really long time. She's all around just a really good character. So it's not a surprise that Misang is this high up. I maybe would have liked to see her a bit higher up, but what can you do? And another one that I'm really happy about, Serena in 42nd place with 65 votes. That's really good. That's a really, really good thing to see. She's a really good character, and I like what the anime does with her. Not that I've read the Season 1 webtoon, but I really like Serena as a character. She is probably one of the best characters in Season 1. That might be a very bold statement. Would that be considered an unpopular opinion? Anyway, moving on to 41st place with a massive jump of 15 votes is Arc Raptor. Ooh, he's a Han. Interesting. Arc Raptor. He is a really good character, so it's no surprise that he's here. We're with him for a good amount of time, then he meets a tragic end during, well, I say tragic, somewhat unceremonious end during the Hell Train. Yeah, there's no surprise that he's here. Right, moving on to the top 30. We have Iniesta. Interesting. Very interesting. Arlene, Lilial. How many votes more does she have? She has more than double her sister's votes. Gustang, Lerero, Doan, Vicente, Data Edwan, Shibisu, and Cha. Cha's a character I don't know. And I don't know Doan, but I know of Doan. Interesting, the top 40 is kind of not quite how I expected it, to be honest. But given that we haven't seen most of these characters, I should have expected them to be around here. I kind of would have thought Gustang would have been a bit higher, in all fairness, but then again, we haven't seen a lot of the really big characters yet. So, I guess it makes sense that he's where he is. Shibisu, I feel like, should be higher. Shibisu not being in the top, like, 30, I don't know. That kind of sucks. Shibisu's a great character. I feel like he should have got more votes. Give Shibisu more love. Arlene being here, bit surprising, given she is, again, just a flashback character. She's an important one, don't get me wrong, but still. And Iniesta, he has a really good fight with Ran. He's kind of set up as this really big threat in the workshop battle. Not workshop battle. Fucking, I've done this so many times in this video of me fumbling which arcs are which. During the name hunt station. Good job, me. And Lerero at 36. Good to see. We've been with him for a long time. He does some really important things throughout the story. Good to see our boy up here. Right. Top 30. Top 30. And coming in straight away at 30th place is Marshani Jihad. That's really cool. And okay, Alright, I've seen something I'm really happy with. Right, 25th place, Enryu. I don't think Enryu should be this highly rated. I do think Enryu is a bit of an overrated character. He's cool, but he hasn't actually done anything outside of being cool in the past. And yes, what he does in the past is a really fucking big deal. And also, I guess, with the thorn being connected to Enryu and all, but shut up. Enryu as a character himself, as an individual, shouldn't be this high. His actions and what he has caused, yeah, they're really cool and really important to the story, but Enryu himself, we know, like, next to nothing about him as an individual. He's just here because he's a good-looking guy that's done some really important stuff for the story. But Mashni, let's go. Let's go. Mashni top 30. And then we have a two-way tie at this high of a place of 27 between Jihad and Garam. Really interesting. Really interesting. Not surprising that Jihad broke top 30. Interesting. Fuck's, I've just seen Paracule. Heart's at 26. I feel like Heart should be higher, especially given that Paracule's fucking 22nd. But he's the meme character. He's gonna get the, the comic relief. He's a comic relief character. He's gonna get the meme votes. Of course, he's up here. I wish Hearts was a bit higher. But coming in at 25th place, we have Xia. She's nowhere near as underrated as I thought she was. That's really good to see. That's a massive spoiler for my video coming out next Wednesday, but still. Xia, I'm doing an underrated character video. That's what I'm doing. I'll just spill it. That's really good to see Xia here. She also ties into my second video next week, which is going to be a different one. I won't spoil that, but yeah. Xia being here, that's really good. Just missing out on beating or tying with Anak as well. That was really good in 24th place. Anak, I don't know. Of all the main cast, the original main cast, she's probably my least favourite. Maybe. I don't know how I feel about Anak. I feel like she needs to do more relevant stuff and be more around more. I know she has done stuff recently, because I've seen people in thumbnails and stuff, seen it mentioned. But I really want her to do more stuff that's relevant and important to the story, but I don't think that's very likely. And in 23rd place with 160 votes is Evankel. Fuck me, there's a 32 vote difference between Evankel and Paracule. And in 21st place is this Calavan. Paracule. This disappoints me. Right. The top 20. And immediately in 20th place, with 239 votes, is Karaka. Not a surprise. He's been around for a really long time. He's transitioned as a character from being this mysterious villain who's, pulling the strings to a villain that's actually doing stuff, and now he's an ally. He's gone through a spectrum of different roles. And so he's an interesting character. I understand why people like him. It really does make sense that he's this high up. So yeah, not really too shocking to see Karaka here. Shortly followed by, well, I say shortly, there's a decent amount of votes between them with 264. In 19th place we have Baylord Yama. I like Yama. I think he's an interesting character. I do like him. I didn't vote for him, but I like Yama. So yeah, it's good to see him up here. He's definitely one of the I would say he's one of the better parts of the cage, if only he was not asleep for a good chunk of the cage. Yeah, maybe he's not as good of a character as I think he is, at least so far. In 18th place with 283 votes, we have Ran. Not surprising. Ran's really cool. He does really cool shit. So of course he's going to be up here. Some of the best fights in the series, in my opinion. He has some really good fights. So yeah. In 17th place with 285 votes, we have Jin Sung Ha. Not really surprising. He's super important to the plot, especially in being basically the instigating factor of the Nest, which is apparently a really good arc, from what I've heard. He's just a really good father. Well, he's not a good father figure to Balm, but he is Balm's father figure. He's really important in Balm's development and a lot of what goes on with Balm in general. He's a really good character. Good to see him up here. And Hockney in his name's fucking David. Hockney in 16th place with 286 votes, just beating out Jin Sung Ha. Very, very close. Wow. I don't know how I feel about Hockney. He's there. He's interesting. I like his design. I like his ability to see the future. Kind of. But I don't know if he... yeah, I understand why he's got votes. But... Sure. Sure, you know? Sure. It's alright. him being short. And in 15th place, wow. Rock not even hitting the top 10. Wow. Also, these next three are really close. That's surprising. I probably don't sound surprised, but fuck. Rock didn't make top 10? Wow. Okay. Shit, bruh. Beaten out by 1 vote by Han Sang-yu. Again, Han Sang-yu. I didn't expect Han Sang-yu to break top 10, but I didn't expect him to beat Rock. And a somewhat surprising one, but also not as surprising, is Elaine or Kaiser. Yeah. I mean, I like Kaiser. I like Elaine. She's got, in my opinion, the best fight in the series with her vs. Balm in the Name Hunt Station. She's a really good character as Kaiser. As Elaine, she's not really done anything much, and she's just kind of sassy. But as Kaiser, she's a really good character. She's an extremely important part of the plot, you know, with Name Hunt Station and what it does. Also, I realized that earlier I said 6,000 votes, 6,000 voters. Fucking dumbass, me, Jesus. 17,000 votes, Jesus Christ, man. That's so many votes. Good job, Haku. This went fucking ham. And in 12th place, we have Traumarai. I know of Traumarai, I don't know anything about him. In 11th place, we have the big, you know, super villain himself, or at least former villain. Although I'd argue he still is, at least in terms of agenda, is White. He's a great foil, to an extent, to Balm. Actually, yeah, he probably is Balm's foil. And he's a... Obviously, we gotta love White and Joaquin. Good shit. Really, really good shit. I kind of feel like he should be in the top 10, but he's almost there. We'll see how much he misses out on it by. With the top 10, he misses out on it by quite a bit to Awa. So, Awa is our 10th place with 345 votes. Not surprising, she has really good growth, and she's Bonehead's waifu, so she probably got, I don't want to say she got, like, simp voters, but she probably does. That's kind of, that's all I gotta say, because she's not really done a lot, you know? After she has a big moment in the Hell Train against Angel, where she, you know, oh, it's such a good scene. It is a really good moment, and she has some really good moments during the, you know, up until then as well. But after that, she doesn't really do a lot. But she's still a great character. I feel like maybe she's definitely top 20 material, but I don't think she's top 10. Just my opinion. Right, and in 9th place, we have Yurik Mizuno with 348 votes. I'm really trying my hardest not to look at the top row, but I've seen something that's... Oh my fucking god. Okay. We'll get to that in a second. Jesus Christ. Yurik, it makes sense he's here. He's a really popular character. He's cool. He's not my favorite by any stretch, but he's really cool. Right, 8th place, Yasuracha. Yasuracha's got a cool design. And, like, they're set up pretty interesting. I was going to say pretty well, but they're just set up in the cage. So, makes sense he's here, and then he's going to be relevant going forward, I'm very sure, so it makes sense. And in 7th place, we have the boy, Wagner Jia. Shame he hasn't really done a lot in a good while, but it's good, at least for me. I don't know if he does later on, but it's good to see Wagner here. Really happy that he's top 10. This is probably where I would expect him to be. I think Wagner is in probably the best place we can expect for him. I would obviously like to see him higher, but I don't think, given the characters that are in the top 5, he would ever break into it. He might be able to, you know, beat Rachel at some point, but I don't think he would ever be able to break into the top 5, in my opinion. And a horse I was backing, especially into like the last like couple weeks of the popularity poll, is Rachel. We did it, boys. We got Rachel in. We almost got Rachel to top 5. Not even close, but we almost got her to top 5, alright? We almost did it. It's like, you know, 80 votes difference. Literally, it's 80 votes. But we almost did it. We got Rachel to 6th place. That's what we want to see. We got Rachel to beat Wagner. Let's go, boys. Rachel is my favourite Tower of God character, so of course I'm happy to see her this high up. Personally, I think she should be higher, you know, but again, I don't think she'd ever be able to break top 5. Same thing with Wagner. With who's up here, she would never have been able to break into it. Especially with how set in stone the top 3 is, and the top 1 is. Jesus Christ. Right, 5th place, we have Huarian with 641 votes. I'm really happy about that. I right-clicked again. I love Huarian. She's a great character. I feel like I wish she was a bit more relevant than she is, because I do love her. I want more relevance with Huarian. Give me more Huarian SIU. But yeah, not that he's going to listen to me. He doesn't even know I exist. But I love Huarian. It's good to see her here. And in 4th place, with a 208 votes difference, is Yuri Ha-Jahad. I've recently put out a video on her. It came out yesterday. Go check it out, please. Shameless self-promotion right at the end. And if you've made it this far, which I find unlikely, you're a Chad. And maybe consider leaving a like and... A like? Yes, leave a like and sub. Fuck's sake. Yeah, not surprising. Yuri is incredibly popular. She's literally been around, like, from the fucking get-go. Of course she's going to be this high up. And she's also a really good character. And in 3rd place, we have probably a lot, well, definitely a lot of people's favourite character in Kun Aguero Añez. How many votes difference is that? It's 398 votes difference between Yuri and Kun. Wow. Not quite as big of a gap as I'd have expected, but hey, that's, I don't have a comment on that, so I don't know why I'm trying to make it out like I do. Really good to see Kun here. Obviously, Kun's great. Everyone loves Kun. Sure, not really much else I can say on him. And in 2nd place is our main character himself, the 25th Baam, or Juvial Grace, with, how many more votes is that? It's 200 minus 67. So 134 votes, 66 votes on, yeah. 100. I said the number. I've immediately forgotten it. I'm not going to try and calculate that again. Yeah, Bam. He's the main character. He's a good main character, so it makes sense that he's here. And in number 1 place, I'm absolutely not complaining, isn't Dorsey. Fuck yeah. Let's go! I mean, she's my waifu. I did vote for her a little bit during the early weeks, splitting my votes between her and Rachel until I fully, like, went all in on voting for Rachel. Wow, I did not expect... Well, I should have seen her getting this many votes. She's easily one of the most... Well, she's clearly the most popular character, at least of, you know, the audience that voted on this. Fucking hell. That's a lot of votes. She's got over 10% of the votes. My god. Well, good job, simps. We did it. We did it. Right. So, that was the Tower of God character popularity poll. Really good, really interesting results. Really good work from Haku. Like, seriously. Mad respect to Haku for doing this and running this and getting this all done. Really good shit. Definitely like to see something. Obviously, everyone would probably like to see something like this again much later into the future. Perhaps, you know, if Season 4 is a prospective thing on the horizon. It would be really cool to see stuff like this again. I wonder what other stuff you could do like this. Other, like, community-driven things. But yeah, maybe a community-driven, like, arc poll. Like, you know, the community's favorite arcs. That could be interesting. Haku, if you're watching this right now, you know what to do. Not that I want to force more work on you, but do it if you feel like it, or if you think it'd be interesting. But yeah, those are the results. That's my reaction to it. If you made it this far, you're a goat, and I love you. And with all that said, I've been Animosity, you've been you, and I hope to catch you all next time for another video. Ta-ta, for now.